What should I do? How does it happen? What is the roadmap? These are few of many questions that trouble early career professionals. Early Career Talks is an initiative to exactly bridge that gap between people who are in their early career and the industry. Saturday 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. as part of these Early Career Talks, industry veterans are invited and they share their knowledge so that the early career professionals get benefited and their doubts gets clarified. Stay till the end and you will know how you can be part of this community so that you don't miss any early career talks and also all the initiatives that are taken by the company behind this early career talks, Balemarthy Vamsi Enterprises. Stay till the end and you will know how you can take your early career to the next stage. And I strongly believe early career should become a launch pad and a stepping stone for a bright mid-career and prosperity. Thank you very much.
Learning other languages will become a correlation. Okay, therefore this is the structure of a syntax, right, in C. And okay, this is in some other language. In Go, it is used in this way, right? But you will always have to make one language very inherent in yourself, so that you can always think in programming in that language, right? So that I think is very important. And knowing another secondary language also I feel is very important, because it is either used in scripting, right? Either say you have a large output of log files, right, which you have got. You want to understand that log file, right? If you want to do it manually, it would take a lot of time before knowing there. The second thing is automating some day-to-day activity, right, in that way, or maybe what do you call it? Writing some automation scripts, right, wherein which you can interact with embedded targets, execute some test cases, right, repeatedly, all such things, right? Either Perl or Python. I think Perl is very old language now, but maybe Python is a good point to start if you have not started, right, to learn it and use it. Okay. Yeah. Next comes to the operating system.
Harish, can you just repeat the first point also, because
yeah, sure.
My bad that I did not start recording. I just started when you were talking about the second point.
Okay, sure. The first point was to know your basics, right, and to own especially any programming language, or the way the different programming practices are there, right, to understand them, right. You have to really know the basics. And as we go on getting more experience, right, we'll always go into a lot of details, a lot of nitty-gritty of stuff, right. But we should never forget the basics. Okay, therefore we should have a constant effort in which we actually relearn the basics, right, again and again. Therefore that was the first point. Now coming to the third point, right, therefore you need to understand both Linux and RTOS. Okay, in embedded, maybe 10 years or before 10 years, Linux was not that much used, but now Linux is used most of the places in embedded domain. And the one main advantage, right, with Linux that comes is you have a lot of help online, right. There is an open community first. The second is documentation and solving, right, becomes very easy. There are a lot of support for tool chain and other tools, right, which are openly available, right. Therefore that is where actually Linux is acing. And if you write any application on Linux, right, it becomes automatically portable, because Linux supports so many CPUs, so many architectures, right. Therefore your application can be supported very easily. But having said that, again, right, there is a special place for RTOS, right. Therefore say for example, take example of free RTOS, right. You need to understand. Therefore there are two parts of understanding, right. One is how do you use them, okay, knowing the APIs or commands or knowing how to interact with bash shell or so on, right, or knowing the APIs. This is one part of it. The other understanding is also you need to, even though we don't modify the Linux or RTOS, or maybe that is also part of the job, but still, right? If you are not modifying also, you need to still go under the hood, look into the source code, understand a bit, right? Before you, if you understand them, right, then you will write a better code on top of it. This is my point of view. Therefore, you need to always know about two OS. One is Linux and any other RTOS of your choice. Then again, right, just like a language, this is my point of view. Therefore, once you know Linux and any one of the RTOS, right, working on any other different RTOS is always by comparison. Okay, I know this. This is how it works. What is there in this particular RTOS in that? Okay. Next is theory versus practice. This has been very important for me, that we need to expand our knowledge by learning, either reading books or good books, blogs, or LinkedIn posts in that way, right? Vamsi writes really good posts on different things. Therefore, theory is good, but the other part of it is putting the theory into the practice, right? So, what do I mean by practice, right? Therefore, you need to have what you call um, development board to play around with, either a Raspberry Pi or STM32, right? Any one of the boards may be better, one which can run Linux and one which can run a FreeRTOS kind of thing, right? And you need to, like, if you learn anything, right, you need to put them practice. Okay. For example, I'll give you an example, right? We all learn, and one constant question that comes is volatile, right? In C, right? What is volatile, right? Put that into practice, right? Write a program, right, where actually putting a volatile is making a difference, and understand it, how it is working, right? Just go and disassemble that part of C code and see what's happening under the hood in the assembly, right? Try to understand before. Therefore, one part is where you are expanding your theory knowledge, right? But solidifying with by writing a small program, right? Or having a small project, or writing on a hobby project, right? And solidifying whatever you have learned. I think that is very, very important. Therefore, if you practice and understand something, you will remember for a very long time, and compared to just reading a theory, right? That has been one of my learning. Okay, the next is going vast and in depth, right? So embedded is again a vast domain, right? So there is a medical electronics in it, there is IoT, there is automotive, there is networking, right? There are so many domains, right? And the vastness is huge, right? Then the other part is where you go in depth, right? Say, for example, you select one of the RTOS, FreeRTOS, and you like scheduler in that, right? Go into depth of learning about different types of scheduler, right? Therefore, this is going in depth. Therefore, I feel actually you need to have a right balance between going vast and in depth. Therefore, you should you should have the knowledge of vastness, but you should have the capability to go in depth. You got hope you understand, right? You need to go deep in some particular 2-3 instances, right? So that you know that, okay, how do I explore in depth? How do I understand, right? So that it becomes your skill, right? Therefore, then your whole approach, right, will be very good. Therefore, you will have knowledge of everything, but you will have the confidence that, okay, I can go in depth into anything and understand, right, very quickly, any one particular topic in half a day, right? I can go through the net, go understand it, read documentation, and quickly do a comprehension about it, right? Therefore, this becomes important. And what I felt is, as my career went, right, okay, initially, I used to go a lot of in depth initially in my career, but now my expectation, as my experience has increased, right, has been vast. Therefore, my company expects that I know also the stuff which I have not worked on, because sometimes, right, I am working on architecture or implementation of something which I have not worked on before, but we need to still take decision, okay, whether this is good or bad. Therefore, the whole idea is that your in-depth knowledge on some skills, right, will help you in making decision of other things. Therefore, the vastness, right, will come along with that. Okay. The other thing I always balance out is knowing about domain and technology, right? Therefore, I have seen a lot of my colleagues who are in one domain for a very long time, right? The entire of their career, right? They are in, say, for example, in automotive, there is an infotainment domain, the car radio, right? I've seen people who work only on the car radio, right, and whole of their career, and there is nothing wrong with that. uh, I feel actually having the knowledge of technology, right, is much more important, right, than that. Therefore, the technology can be reused across the domains, right. Therefore, this will make you a better programmer. This is my point of view. But again, everybody has. But I think you need to make a conscious effort. Okay. Uh, do I spend a lot of time in the domain and get expertise in them and grow my career, or do you want to pick up the technology field where you can hop across different domains and still take your career? Right. This is one part of it. Yeah. Okay, now slowly I'm actually moving away from technical and making more non-technical things, right. Therefore, in my whole career, right, I think one of the very important skill I felt is problem solving. Okay. So this is very, very I don't know how many of you have got muscles in interviews and all, right. Therefore, this is the main reason. Okay. Try to see how good is your problem solving. Therefore, in and out, right, we are constantly in any company or any domain or any, right, problems have constantly been there. Some are tough, some are solved, easy, whatever, right, but problems are always there. Therefore, we need to have a right attitude to do that. That is the other part of it. The third point in the same sentence, right, you need to have a very good attitude. Therefore, whenever say bug lands or you or some problem comes, right, always have a calm mind, try to solve them, right, try to go. Sometimes it doesn't even make sense when the problem comes, right. It is like it's just not possible. But as you spend time, right, you'll slowly realize that, oh yeah, okay, there is something in it. And as you put and debug more, right, then it becomes obvious. Oh, how did I not think about it in the end? But that persistence, right, and patience that you require for problem solving, I think that is going to help a lot. And another important thing is, in my career, I've spent maybe 80% in bug fixing, root causing, and reading others' code, and maybe 20% of my time I've spent in writing new code or designing, right? Therefore, that is how industry is. Therefore, we should also get adapted to that. The next thing, right, as part of the same is working with a team. Therefore, get rid of your egos, right. Don't think that only I am the one who will solve the problem. Yeah, you need to have confidence that, okay, I am going to get involved, get solved to solve the problem, but teamwork is the most important thing. Okay. Because as a company, right, they don't want people to alone, right, work in silos. Nobody wants that, right. As a team, they want everybody to participate. Therefore, interacting with the team, getting everybody involved, taking others' point of view, thinking critically, right? And somebody gives some input, right? You need to think critically. Okay, is it going to help me? Right? That becomes very, very, very important. And oftentimes in my evaluation, right, maybe yearly evaluation for hike and all, right, the most, I think, important thing that comes is how well this guy works along with the team. Okay, always it's with the team. Next important thing is soft skills. Okay, before even though whatever we work is technical, we need to be good at technical, right? But soft skills are very, very important too. Okay, whether it will be written, right, writing the email, right, you need to know how to write a good email, right? It should not be very long, it should not be short. It should have a proper introduction, proper details, and proper conclusion, right? All these formats, right? You need to put a constant effort. Maybe go through. I don't know if Vamsi covers this, but right, do go through presentation or some articles, right, to how to write a good email. Because a lot of times, right, knowing technically something, problem solving is one part, right, but explaining it to others, right, in a proper way is also your onus. You got it, right? I have seen a lot of in my career, right, a lot of people who are technically very capable, but they lack in soft skills. Okay, they can't express themselves in a mail, right? Explaining, okay, why this particular code will not work in some situation, right? They are unable to do that, or they have a temper, right? They go to meeting room and suddenly talk in high rise. Uh, 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 they are passionate. Nothing wrong with that. But what happens is nobody listens to what they are telling. They only remember that, oh, this guy had a raised voice. He had a temper. That's all. So all these things, right? Having soft skills becomes very important. The other part is also the presentation, right? Like how do you present your ideas, right? Either in form of writing a document or say PPT, right? This is very, very important. I've a lot of my colleagues, right, I've seen that they don't like documentation, right? They don't like presenting at all. But actually that will harm you, okay? In long run, because the very important thing is you know something until others know what you know, right? When you present only they will come to know, all right? Then only, therefore this becomes a very important thing. The other is speaking, okay? Public speaking, let it be public speaking or in a meeting, right? You need to develop that skill. Therefore, initially I used to be very, very shy, okay? Therefore, I always used to have something in mind that, okay, everybody knows better. I can't contribute something like that. Let me keep quiet. Okay, this used to be my constant attitude. Then I came to know that meetings are not for that. Meetings are to actually clarify things. If I don't know, I should admit that I don't know, so that somebody else will pitch in or tell me where to read on, right? And as well as contributing ideas. There is nothing wrong with that, right? Therefore, this actually becomes very important. And also, when you are in a meeting or the spoken part of it, right? You should learn to not offend others and still present your idea. This is a very important thing I have learned. Okay. Sometimes when we are overconfident or when we are very sure of knowing something, right? We'll come to know, hey, this will not work. It can't work in this way. We become a little harsh because our confidence is coming out, but the other person will take it very wrongly. Therefore, that becomes very, very important. Yeah, the other thing is going beyond the assigned module. Okay. Therefore, once you land in a team, right? Generally, you are assigned a module. You look into bugs. You look into design of those modules, right? Therefore, it is like the old Indian team, right? Under Azharuddin, it used to be always. I don't know how many of you watched during that time, but maybe me and Vamsi are old to still remember those days. But there was a constant thing, right, wherein which they used to pass the ball and show the hand to the next person in the boundary, right, to catch it. Therefore, this ball passing is a common corporate culture. But what I found important is you pass the ball, but before passing the ball, right, go into the other module, see what is written, because code everybody has access. Nobody is telling you not to look into, right? Go there, look into there. If you find anything, okay, where you are suspecting something, right, you assign that task to the other person, but tell, hey, I'm thinking that this might be the issue. Can you have a look? Or if you have a fix, you tell them, I have a fix. This is the point. Before going beyond assigned module, right, one thing that will help you is your understanding of the whole system, right, will improve. The second is actually you will also get interesting knowledge of other modules, right? And maybe, right, as you experience increases, maybe you will find that other module interesting and you can jump over it, right? Before that, there are a lot of added advantage going beyond the assigned module. But having said that, right, you should not just do work where you are just working on other modules and not doing your task. Then that again affects your thing. There is always a priority, but just working on what I am assigned to, right, in the long run will not help much. Yeah, same point, right? Continuing is helping others. Therefore, this I think is very important. Uh, uh, Therefore, there is always a constant office politics, right, where everybody wants to guard their knowledge, not share and keep others, right? But I have felt that helping others and getting involved, right? Okay, there are two parts of it, right? Okay, one is, okay, you help someone, somebody else will not acknowledge, right, and will own that whole thing, and you are not recognized for the help. That will happen, but always, right, you see that what you have personally gained from it, right? The main important thing that you will gain is two things. One is you will gain knowledge, right, by helping others, because sometimes, right, you will not get all the problems on your plate, right? It will be in somebody else's plate. Therefore, you will easily get involved in that. You will understand what is the problem. You will develop your problem solving skills, You will develop your teamwork, everything, right, along with that. That's one part. Second part is, right, slowly the other guy, right, will, whether he's a good or bad, whether he acknowledged or not, right, he will become your admirer, right. He will, next time when he faces any issue, right, he'll come back to you. Automatically you will get more knowledge from him back. Therefore, this I have felt being very, very important, right. If you become closed, wherein which you are not helping, you are working in silos, right, okay, you will be expert in that module, but you will not grow in your career. This is one thing I have felt. Next, again, right, this I think I touched upon, but having a good documentation and knowledge sharing, right, is very, very important. Therefore, this I think I'll tell a small story. Therefore, there was a person. Therefore, this is a story again told by one of my directors before. Therefore, he used to get he used to work on a library. Okay, library is where a lot of other application and a lot of other software make use of it, right. Therefore, whenever you write a library, right, you need to have a very good documentation. Okay. Therefore, maybe at the point of time, right, he didn't have good documentation, that particular programmer, right. Therefore, he used to get constant queries. Okay, I am facing this problem, what to do? I am facing this problem, what to do? So many queries, right? And he's constantly disrupted in the work. Therefore, the same person, right, he approached the director with whom I interacted, and he told, okay, I'm facing this problem, what to do? Therefore, the director told this: you document in such a way that nobody comes back with the email, okay? Or if they come back, right, you directly point out, okay, in this particular, say, wiki page or Microsoft Doc, whatever, right, go to this section or go to this line, you have a solution, right? Therefore, once you keep on doing it, right, you are no longer what you call it, just answering queries from others, right? Okay, you are, and you can really do other things which are more important, right? Therefore, documentation really helps with that. The second part is, it also showcases your work, right? What you have done, the others will understand. That's one part of it. And the next, once you document, right, knowledge sharing, right, that also is very, very important. Therefore, you need to constantly share knowledge. The very reason, right, to share knowledge is you need to understand that particular module really well if you want to share knowledge. Okay, that's a very important part. Therefore, sharing knowledge internally also involves that you deeply understand it. Okay, therefore, maybe you take a topic and try to share a knowledge, right? You will understand it really well before you, because you can't be superficial, because somebody will ask a question, right? You'll not be able to answer. Therefore, if you are sharing knowledge on something, it means that you have really developed knowledge skills in them. That, and the other very important thing I have felt is, okay, sharing knowledge. Sometimes I have got very good feedback. Okay, my understanding was limited, and somebody else brought a very important point, right, which actually helped me myself grow. Therefore, don't think sharing knowledge that, oh, I'm giving all my knowledge away, but it's actually growing yourself, right? Going deep and understanding yourself. And the second thing is that, again, right, same part, just like helping others, right? People will recognize you. Oh, this guy is good in this. Let me approach when I have an issue. Then again, the same thing will continue, right? Wherein which they will approach you when they have problems. You will get problems to solve. Your understanding will help. Okay. Yeah. Then this I talked about, but I think automating day-to-day tasks has been really helpful for me. Therefore, let me give us again small story for this, right? Before, in my first company, I think I had a teammate. I knew C language very well during that time because we had course in our engineering college, and I had done some side projects, and I was like full hardcore C guy at that time. Therefore, finally, I got some log files, a huge log file, and I had to pass it. Okay. Then, as a junior, I went and told teammate, I'll write C program to it. I'll do it like that and all. I wrote, it was around 300 or 400 lines of code or something, and it was doing its job. Okay. Then quickly my tech lead, he understood this guy is not understanding what I'm telling. He quickly opened up, and at that time Perl was Python was just his infancy. He opened up Perl editor, wrote that same code in 5 lines. That's it. I had written like 350 lines of code, doing all if else, check that, these error handling everything byte by byte, nothing. He just wrote a regex, everything is done. Okay. therefore that is when I understood actually learning a scripting language, right, and automating your day-to-day task, right. Maybe say you are giving some 5-6 commands together, right, put it in a bash script. Try to pass arguments to it, try to make it like a command line arguments, and along with that, right, I also try to share it with other people, right. If I write something which is doing quite a big work, right, I try to share with others, and others take it and also share their inputs to it, right. Okay, we could have done this also, and it comes back to you. Okay, it becomes a synergy wherein which everything, right, is put together and it becomes much better. Okay, therefore I highly recommend that you put your effort in learning Python and also use it in your day-to-day activity, right, in automating some small tasks here and there, right. Therefore the last point, right, in the lesson learned has been multitasking and time management. Okay, therefore I don't know how many of you have really thought of it, or early in your career, right, we'll always think, okay, we are assigned a task, I am time boxing it, I'll only work on this, okay, for half a day or 1 day or till it completes, right, then I will take another task. If team lead comes and asks me, we'll tell, no, I am working on this, you will, whatever is it, you will put it aside and do. But as you go more experienced, right, this won't work. Okay, think that you are a tech lead, and if somebody comes and approaches you, then you'll tell, no, I am helping this guy, you come after afternoon, then only I'll help. This won't work. You need to multitask. Okay, therefore learn to do the multitasking. The way it has helped for me is, therefore any work, right, any task is there, right, I generally make notes on that particular task. Okay, therefore I have one notepad, or in any of your favorite editor, right, I have one text file which is open, right, which has points which will tell, okay, this is my task, or this is my bug, or something, right, and I keep on writing short notes, not like a huge information of this stuff, right. Okay, and I generally associate it with time. Okay, on this day this I did. Therefore writing this, right, has helped me to, it is like, I think it like saving my process. Basically when OS tries to do task switching, right, it has a TCB, right, a task control block, or a PCB, whatever, process control block, right. I think that as a PCB, right. I have everything. If somebody approaches me asking, okay, what has happened to this bug, maybe I have worked 4 days before, I quickly open the notes, I tell, okay, this has been the last thing that happened, and say for example with respect to that bug, if I have a small code snippet, I have it right there. If I have some commands or output or a log file associated, I have right there. You got it, right? Having that context on that particular work together, right, is actually very helpful. Okay, this again comes back to my whole idea of documentation, right. This is not documenting for others but for yourself, right. Therefore this has helped me in multitasking and time management. Okay, therefore earlier I also was used to have an opinion that time boxing and working on one task, which actually will increase the what you call the quality of that particular work, because the other inherent problem with switching is that, okay, you will forget something in the one of the tasks, right, and you are always in a constant what you call tension that, okay, I might be doing something wrong in that way, right? But following a proper process in doing that, right, I'm not telling this is the only solution, you can come with any solution, but learn to do multitasking and manage your time well. Therefore even though company will not pressurize you to work on multiple things, but if you work on multiple things, right, and work efficiently, then I think you will have a better chance in growing up in it, right? Okay, this has been my lessons learned part of the whole discussion. I think I have taken more time than what I thought. The second part I want to concentrate is on the interview process, right? Preparing to interview, right, on that part of it. First and foremost, writing resume and having a good LinkedIn profile, right, is very, very, very important. Okay, and resume writing, right, have one-page resume. I would say. I think Vamsi, you help in writing resume. I think you will talk better on it, but I'll give my point. Maybe you can also input on these things. Therefore, I generally prefer one-page resume. Therefore, I initially in my career, I used to, I had maybe 2 page. As experience grew, more pages kept on adding. But I got this feedback from one of the, what you call, friend of mine who is a HR, right? Who works as HR. And she told that their point of view, right? That was very good. They get so many resumes in a day, right? And they have to shortlist. They can't look at everything. If you are sending multi-page resume, they are going to go through the first page of it. At least have good information on the first page. The other pages might have a lot of information which will be maybe helpful in interviews, but right, the first page of it, right, has to be very, very precise and is very, very important. Okay, and having a good LinkedIn profile, right? Have good profile picture, which is not like your face is properly visible, all your work experience, everything, right, is properly mentioned, right? Have I don't know what is called. Is it a referral or something where others write a testimony on you, right? Have those also, right? Which is also very helpful. Um, yeah, this is on it. Next is coming to referral or applying, right? Therefore, in my experience, right, all the companies which I have shifted is via referral. Okay, I have applied, but all the companies which I have joined are via referral. Okay, the main important, I think there are some statistics also which tell that I think more than 50% of the positions are filled by referral. Okay, therefore, main coming to the same thing, right? In interviews, how much you can have 3 or 4 rounds of interviews. You can know a person only to some extent, right? You can know his technical capabilities of others, right? But when it comes to referral, right, you know a person who is in your team who can vouch for the other person, right? This is a very very important thing for any team or this one, right? Where a person is vouching for other person, right? Therefore, referral actually has its own advantage. Therefore, have a good networking, be in a constant touch with all of your friends, not just for referral sake, right? But really understanding what they are doing, or understanding their domain, what their team is doing, right? Because this really works. Okay, and as well, applying also works. I'm not telling that it doesn't work, right? But referrals are there. The other very important thing with referral is that you will have a person whose team you will be joining, or to adjacent team where they have referred, right? So you will come to know that what is a work like, right? He will be there after you join also. These all small things, right, will actually give you more confidence. But apart from that, you can apply directly either to their. I have got calls where I have directly applied to their website, and also from LinkedIn also. I have got a lot of calls for interviews like that. Next, very important thing is preparation. How do you prepare, right? First and foremost is whatever you write in resume, right? You need to know 100% of it. Okay. Therefore, whenever you give in the interview, right? Therefore, all the interviews are they at least one round is where your work profile, right, will be interviewed on. Okay. They will try to see that how well you know what you have done. Okay. Because sometimes what happens is what knowledge you have worked on to the job what you are applied, right, might not have 100% match, right? You still have embedded experience, because I have shifted domains a lot, right, wherein which I had this constant issue wherein which my domain knowledge, right, the other person doesn't. My project, whatever I have worked, right, he doesn't know at all. But they will still ask questions, right? So that they will test you that you claim what you know, right, in your resume, how well you can explain that, right? That part they will explain. Therefore, make sure that if you're writing anything, nothing is inaccurate, and you don't give too much details on your project, right? Like internal project name, all those things you should not reveal. Apart from that you should know it really well, right? Like for example, if it is a project, you should know how write a general block diagram and explain it, right? Practice it well, because that is going to come. The other part of preparation is you will generally have a JD, right, for any job you have applied. Therefore, try to understand all the topics with that JD, right, purposefully, because they are expecting that you are going to work in them. You have to prepare on that part. Apart from that, brush on your basics, algorithms, data structures. These are very important. Go through them. You can solve a lot of data structure algorithm problems in website like LeetCode, HackerRank, Geeks for Geek. go through them, right? And if you have made notes on the what you call different things you have learned, right? Go through those notes, prepare well. Therefore, preparation is very, very important. Okay. Next, coming to interview formats, right? Therefore, generally, when you apply for any role, depending on number of experience, either you will have 3 rounds or 5 rounds or more than that. As your experience is more, I think number of rounds also will increase. But I want to comment on general format, right? Before the first round, right? Either if it is a return or is always a elimination. First round, okay. In the first round, what interviewer tries to do is, okay, try to understand what is your work experience, see a fit to the company. That one part of it. The second part of it is they will ask some basic technical questions. So here it is like they are trying to see, okay, if he can answer basics, is basics, because they don't want a person wherein which they have to teach basics back to him, right? Because the basics is something that they assume, okay, this person really knows, okay. Therefore, you have to be. It is more of an elimination round where, okay, if you say, I used to ask. I have taken a lot of interviews before. I used to ask simple questions on macros. Therefore, if somebody fumbles on macros, right, it is a red flag for me. That's it. Okay, I'm not going ahead with this person. That's it. If we ask the next question on pointers really well, right, it still doesn't matter to me because macros is gone in that way. But the what you call, this is the first round. The other rounds I feel are more like selection rounds, right? One of the round will go through the domain knowledge what you have. The next round might go through programming skills. Other round might go through how good are you at problem solving, right? All those things. Therefore, generally they have a format. Almost all the companies, right, will have the format, and they will pre-decide among the interviewers, right, what they are going to target and understand, right? Therefore, be prepared for all of them. And of course, there will be managerial rounds and HR rounds where the common questions, right, that will come. And very other important thing I feel is actually about confidence, right? You should have good amount of confidence. Okay. Now, not having confidence, right? You will fumble. You will have a lot of other, like, you will get tense. Right? Now, to get rid of, the only way actually you can become better at giving interviews is constantly giving. Okay. That fear of giving interviews, right, will go away. Okay, you keep on giving interviews. Okay, you will come to know that what kind of questions will be asked, right? All those things, and slowly your confidence level will increase, and you will become better at it. Okay, therefore, this is about interview. And the other thing is actually what I felt is have a good attitude, right? Say, for example, you are asked some interviews, right? They will ask some standard questions. If you go and type, right, standard interview questions in embedded C, right, the questions will be on that on those only. But what interviewer sees is how do you answer the question? Okay, what depth you have understanding on that question, right? Again, the same thing comes back: theory versus practice, right? They will easily able to understand that. Okay, have you read about it or have you used it, right? Say, for example, when somebody asked me about volatile, right, which I just touched about, right, I gave the example. Okay, in such and such project, in such and such driver, okay, I faced this issue, and when I made this variable as volatile, it worked. Okay, I'm proving them that, okay, I have a past experience where I have worked on it. So this also becomes very important, right? Whatever the questions is there, right, if you can correlate to your learnings and your past experience, right, do that. That will be very helpful. Okay. Yeah. The other thing is post-interview, right? Therefore, once this is when I give interviews, right? When I come out of the interview, I write down all the questions. Okay. I used to write down all the questions, and also I used to know, okay, what are the answers I thought about it, right? And I used to go and Google search, right? Understanding. Did I answer the question correctly? Okay, and I also used to discuss with my friends. Okay, this was a question asked. This I answered. This is very basically like knowing what you have understood, right? This is very important. Sometimes, right, we will come out of the interview thinking that, hey, I've answered everything. I've done really well. But next round, we have not got selected. Okay, because we will be thinking that, oh, I have answered everything. this is my knowledge. Sometimes some things might be incorrect in that. Therefore, post interview, right, spending time in answering what answers were there, right, and that becomes very important. Okay. The other thing actually which I found very interesting was one of the questions. Okay, this very recently happened. Okay, in the interview I was asked a question. Okay, it was a very trick question in data structures. I was not able to answer. Okay, I took a lot of different approaches, but I couldn't come at the solution which he had asked. Okay, then finally, okay, interview happened and it got wrapped. Okay, and the next round, right? Again, I got a call that no, he wanted to take extended interview of the same thing, the same person, right? Maybe he was not convinced enough, or maybe on that day he couldn't judge me, right? He wanted to take the second. And what you know, in the second round, right, interview happened. He asked me the same question again. Okay. Then I told him this was the question you asked in the before round, and I had already read about it, and I told that this is a solution. He was impressed. You know why? Because I when I don't know something, right, I went back and learned it. Okay, this is a very important quality which they also look into, right? He was like, okay, good, you went and learned about it. And he told me that that was a trick question. He was not expecting me to answer, but he wanted to see what are the different methods I would take. He told me that. But nevertheless, right, he was impressed by it. Therefore, post interview is very, very critical, right? Take it very objectively, not like, okay, I have done the interview, I don't want any stress, let me relax, it is done. Don't think in that way. Sometimes the real learning starts in the post interview, right? I have felt wherein which I was asked a question about graph in one of the interviews, right? Then I came to know, oh, I am not well prepared in graph at all. I spent several days after that, right, learning about graphs, going through different questions in that, right? Before, that's a very important thing. That is where the next point is: continuous learning, right? Before, interviews are actually preparing you so that you can what you call prove yourself worthy in the 3 hours or 4 hours of different time slots you have, right? But it's a continuous learning, right? How do you answer those questions, right? How you learn different topics and do good in your job, right? In the same way, you have to spend time so that you can be interview ready always. Before, that is the final point I wanted. Before, continuous learning is always there. Yeah, that is the end of my talk. Before, any questions you have, you can ask me. If I have contact information, before you can follow me on LinkedIn. I also I used to write very consistently earlier in this website, harishnote.com, some technical article, some non-technical and all, but I think off late by 1 year I have not posted anything, but if you want, you can have a look.
Yeah, any questions that you would like to ask, Harish? We still have approximately 10 minutes time. You can unmute and you can ask. Maybe you can give a short introduction about you and you can ask. Okay, how many of you felt this session to be loaded, that is loaded with a lot of valuable information? Type yes in the chat box. If you felt that this interview is something, man, it has blown my mind away, understood really what it is. Great. Yes. Okay. Each one of you now type in the chat box what you remember. He mentioned so many lessons and also many points around interviews. What is that point which is now top of your mind? Either in his lessons or anything. Karnika, don't play safe by saying continuous learning. It was the last one. Something different, the lessons learned. Interview process, any one point that he has mentioned as lessons. Documentation, knowledge sharing. Okay. Why do you think I asked this question? If you are preparing notes, you just have to refer the notes and just type that. If you are making a note of what even, because I made a note. I made notes of what. Okay, thank you, Karnika. Theory versus practical. Yeah, that was a good one. Anything more? Improving problem solving skills, Ravia, yes. I know Arul was making notes. Domain versus technology, very good. Basics is very important, yes. Great. So any questions now in the topics that he has dealt from his lessons learned or also in interview process?
You can add your understanding also, and let's make it interactive, right? If you have something to add on particular topic, right? How to hear it.
I have a question. Does interview? Yeah, you can unmute and speak, Raghuram. So Raghuram has a question saying, I have a question. Does interviewer really look for stability in career? I have come across this point quite a lot of time from interviewer.
Yes. Therefore, okay, let me answer right in a proper way. Stability is important. Therefore, you need to have whenever the resume screening used to be done, right? Especially, I have interacted with a lot of managers. Therefore, the frequent switches, right? It's always a little bit of red flag. Okay. But having said that, right? If you have one experience, right, wherein which you have stayed for 4 or 5 years, right, that will always show stability. Okay. Because sometimes when you change company, right, you don't, okay, there is a job description, you know what kind of work it will be, but when you join, right, you will feel that you are not resonating with that particular job, right, or it is not what actually was written in JD, because it is completely different, and you will feel it is okay to feel that that job is not good, and you will switch within a year or after a year, right, that is okay. But you can't do it all of your resume that, right. But if you have one instance where you have worked for 5 to 6 years or around 5 years, right, then if this question get asked, right, why did you switch company, right, you always have an answer very easily. I've stayed in this company for a long because the work was really good and I grew up in my career, but okay, in this instances I had these problems, that's why I left. Okay, that's totally acceptable. But if you have in a resume where every year you are changing, right, that is a red flag. But it's not that you will not be called for interview or something, but have a very good explanation of why you did that, at least.
Any more questions? Kalyan was saying the way of presenting the problem, it will impact a lot in. Yes, that is true.
Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe I didn't cover that, but the approach you take, right? I think that is the most important. They don't look for the right answer, interviewers. They see the approach, right? It's always an interaction. You will take approach, and they will tell, okay, this has this problem. Then how do you overcome with a different approach, right? How do you come up with solutions, right? You're thinking, right? And they also see that you never give up. That also is there. Sometimes, right? You will in interview, right? When you are answering, right, you will feel like fully frustrated at, okay, why this interviewer doesn't go to the next question. You will feel like that, and you will give up, telling, I don't know, like that, right? Don't do that. It should be the interviewer, right, who gives up and tells, okay, let's move to the other part.
Okay, Rakram, you are unable to unmute. It's okay. I think your question got answered. So Bhargava is saying, I am having 2.5 years experience in IT industry. Will this experience is used in core company or as a fresher? I consider.
Yeah, experience is always important. Therefore, it is always considered. Okay, maybe if you change domain or something like that, maybe, but still, right, any IT experience, right, will always be considered. I don't think so you'll be considered as a fresher in that way, point of view, right?
Okay. I have few points to add because I have, and before that I would like to say a small story or a quotation that we all know, that birds of same feather flock together. And it has been almost, I should say, 8 months, then 3 months, then almost 5 years that I have met in person Harish. But still, you see, I'm in constant touch. One way or the other, I was going through his website also, which goes to say that like attracts like. When he was saying that I used to make notes of multitasking, I was exactly seeing those notes I was preparing, and they are there on my desktop. Those sticky notes. Now Windows also application Windows has that sticky notes. So I used to keep all different colors of sticky notes. That okay, these are bugs, these are documentation, and I used to be a champion, and I used to run behind people for documentation and people who are doing projects with me, Bhargava and other people. I was literally sitting on their head, right? First document what you want to do. So now I think people are realizing why the resume, I emphasize so much on in the first month that we let us get the resume done, let post every day on LinkedIn. Can you all people connect the dots? Type yes in the chat box if you resonate that why I am pushing those things even before we get into the project's execution in the second month. That in the first month I'm saying get the resume done. And he mentioned very important point that 80% of his time he was spending on fixing issues, reading someone's code, and 20%. And this is where in the last session also we had this understanding that with ChatGPT coming in, the 20%, at least for embedded people, is going to be at least 15%. But for domains which are in IT like JavaScript or something, ChatGPT is clever enough to write code. But ChatGPT cannot write that device driver to manipulate the 6th bit in the register. You have to give a proper prompt, but still the address, anything that the driver is very much special in its own sense. ChatGPT can't do anything. That's a good news. A small amount of bad news that ChatGPT over a period of time is becoming intelligent. But yes, embedded engineers' job it can't take. Application engineers, yes, it may take. But 80% anyways, we have to debug because there are products out there and we have to support them. How many people have now feel that, oh, I have chosen a great career being in embedded systems. At least I know for the coming 10 to 15 years, I will be untouched by so-called that AI revolution. How many of you feel that? Type I in the chat box. Great. Yes. These are my reflections. I made a lot of points and I have actually so much to even talk, but we are running short of time. Overall, excellent thing. And I repeat.
Vamsi, I think there was one question. I think Kaushik, he recently.
Kaushik has asked a question. Yes. What is the back-end process of referral application? Yeah, please.
Therefore, referral, how it works is you know someone, right? Or you know someone who knows someone in that company. Therefore, you send your resume. Therefore, all companies will have their internal website, right? Their referral website, right? They'll go there, put your details, or upload your resume there, and that is how it begins. Okay. If it is to that some particular team, right? They personally go and talk to the hiring manager, right? Telling that so and so is the person I know, right? Or they will send an internal email to them, right? Asking. Therefore, this is how the back-end process of referral starts. But having said that, right, all the questions or the interview process, everything is the same to either external person or internal person. But when it comes to selection, right, if two person are same, one is say referral and the other person is a non-referral, right? I think I would prefer referral because there is a person who knows him very well, right? Which actually adds value.
Yeah. So Kaushik, I hope your question got answered. Mumal is asking what approach should I use to initiate getting in for interviews?
I think some part of it I covered in the last slide before. I think get your resume first prepared, get your basics strong, right? Have a plan wherein which you know, okay, after 1 month I would have covered this and this and this. Then maybe go through this website like LeetCode and HackerRank and Geeks for Geeks, right? Try to solve problems for whiteboard coding and other things, problem solving, understand domain really well, right? Or the things which you have mentioned in resume, right? Really well. That's how I would start about.
So Hari, I have a question, Harish. How relevant are these data structures and algorithms for embedded engineers?
They are still asked. It is not that they are not asked, but yeah, I agree. There is always a question based on embedded knowledge, right? C programming and all. But still, there are data structures. And again, right? Same thing. How do you solve problem, right? They want to see problem solving in programming, right? Data structures and algorithms are the common places you'll find questions there, right? They want to see you have a problem, right? How can you translate it into programming? This is what they see. Okay. How do you understand a problem and how do you convert that into programming, right? How well can you code? That is what they see. It's not actually about data structure and algorithm. If you see in some way, right? It is like how well can you translate the problem into the programming domain. That they look into.
Yeah, that's a very abstract way to do that. I also actually tell people that at the end of the day, it is an exercise to provide a solution to a pressing problem. For that, now you choose that I have to use a arrangement of data which somebody somewhere named it as tree. Let it be, but you are good enough to solve it. That so there are some established things and approach it. But then the embedded engineer can actually talk about the limitation of space and whether a tree data structure will really fit in the memory, or do I have to go part by part analysis of something. These are all other trade-offs. Yes. Great. So if there are no questions, heartfelt thanks from my side, Harish, that you have spent your time. And I think in 4 to 5 days, I think you took time off from your busy schedule, prepared this presentation for this wonderful audience. Thanks a lot. So before we sign off, why don't we all come in a gallery mode, and then so Harish, you can actually let us all come in a gallery mode so that we can have a nice photograph and people understand that okay, something good is happening. The tech talks are benefiting people. Kaushik, Bhargava, if possible, I saw your message. Mumal, Shastri. Hi, Kaushik. Shankar, Kalyan Kumar. So I have put message in the chat also that people who are first timers, please drop in your details for me. So Rakuram, can you come on camera? Hi, Mumal.
Hello, sir.
Hi. So maybe you remaining people should put pressure on people who are not coming on camera. Because the screenshot is not good, look good. Not able to turn on camera, it's okay, understood. Thanks for the information. Kalyan, Shankar, Shastri. Hi, Kalyan. Okay. Hi. Is it possible for you to come? Yes, you can go. Okay. So make a bright face, have a bright smile. Tomorrow it's going to be the LinkedIn post. So you want to show your best face to the outside world. On the count of 2, 1, let us go. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, Harish.
Yeah, thanks.
So this will be uploaded in the website, and the subsequent videos also will be available as a playlist. You anyways got contact details of Harish, so please be in contact with him. Tomorrow you can send your resume. He can be your referral.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay then. Thank you very much. I wish you all great weekend. Sunday is still there. Signing off. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye, sir.